Hello and welcome to Gators Insider, presented by Talon Wealth. With our Gators Insider, Chris Harry, I'm Sean Kelley. As we look back on this past week for Florida Gators men's basketball, a 1-1 week, a home loss against Auburn, and then a dominant win on the road against South Carolina to have the Gators now at 6-2 in Southeastern Conference play and 15-6 overall. Chris, it was one of the more interesting weeks of the season. We saw both ends of the spectrum, and the loss to Auburn wasn't the worst, but it was not nearly as good as what we saw the Gators play in Columbia, South Carolina. So how do we parse or start to take apart these last two games for the Gators?
Yeah, and I think you can't talk about it without talking about both and how they're, intertwined with each other. But what we saw in the Auburn game was not what we're used to seeing from Florida basketball the last 2 years, last 3 years, obviously. To get out rebounded like that, for Auburn to come out with the first punch in a home game at the O-Dome where they'd won 16 straight, I think there was just a little bit of relaxation mode for the Florida basketball team, which was unusual and unexpected given how much that game meant to them in the standings, tied for first place with Texas A&M, and also what it meant to Todd. And I think there was an element of humility that went through the locker room after that win, and an element of focus that followed it that we saw obviously Wednesday.
Did you on the inside feel like the Auburn game exposed some things or placed the Gators into a bit of a wobbly position at this juncture of the season?
I think they just kind of got shell-shocked a little bit. Now, again, not shooting the three-pointer well, that's going to be a thing that kind of drags this team down a little bit. Now, it's getting better, granted, but if you don't have ways to like shoot threes and get back in the game quickly, it's going to be tough when you start falling behind. They fell behind by 17, 18 points at home in the first half of that game, and it just kind of took them by surprise. Todd talked about it. We got punked, is what he said, and you get punched in the face a little bit, and Auburn was the aggressor in that game. Florida had to be the aggressor in the next game. That's what the whole talk was about going to South Carolina.
Auburn at one point was up 18 points. As a matter of fact, that point was 18:52 to go in the second half. The Gators come all the way back, tie the game at 54, and then a game at 56. Golden said that the energy expended during the 18-point comeback may have, halted them to finish the job, if you will. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, and it's often the case when you fall that far behind and you have to exert so much energy to come back. And what I think was huge also, Gators take the lead on that Thomas run-out layup that gets waved off for goaltending. The officials take a little while at the monitor. The energy just went out of the building at that time, and all of a sudden it's a tie game. And even Stephen Pearl said in his postgame, as we said in the huddle, we're going to be up at the next time out by 4 points. They were up by 6, so they gathered themselves better than Florida gathered themselves in that time.
Indeed, and shooting kind of went off to the side as well. The Gators missed 12 of their last 14 shots. And also, for the second straight game, shot right around 55% at the free throw line, two things that counter any completion of a winning job. And Alex Condon as well, 3 for 13 from the field in his last two games, including the loss to Auburn. And again, Auburn 2 games in a row has got Condon's number. Fast forward.
This is the fun part.
Columbia, right? South Carolina.
That's right.
95-48. And a historic night for the Gators.
Yeah, and I go to intangibles first on that. You talk about coming off that performance against Auburn, pride and accountability. Okay, Florida was very prideful in going to South Carolina, very businesslike and accountable in knowing that they did not play well and did not, to a man, do their jobs in the game. Now we talk the basketball element of it. Let's talk about unselfishness. 28 assists, sharing the ball. I mean, it's funny. What was it? 9 assists for Xavier Lee, 8 for Alex Condon, 6 for Boogie Flan. Thomas Hawks after the game going, I only had 1. I kind of feel bad. No, Thomas, you did fine. Okay, but the way they played free. Like I said, sharing the ball, wide open, in transition. I mean, I have some numbers here. Plus 21 rebounds, plus 34 paint points, plus 13 second chance points, plus 28 in transition. Outstanding performance. Throw out the fact that South Carolina may not be a very good team. Remember, last year, South Carolina team won 2 SEC games and were beating that Gator team last year by 1 point with 5 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, the Gators.
You got to win. Winning on the road is hard.
It is really hard, but to do it in this fashion.
Yes.
And Chris, you've been covering this team for a long time. Can you remember a game that was as near perfect as this one was.
Well, not on the road. The closest thing, obviously, I was at the 47-point win over Ole Miss in 1993, which remains or tied now for the biggest lopsided game in Gator basketball history. But I was at that LSU game when they won by 35. It's been done 3 times, 35-point road wins. I mean, it's just remarkable. When you think about it, Florida scored 48 points in the first half. South Carolina had 48 for the game.
Amazing.
Wow.
Thomas Houck led all scorers with 18 points. And, of course, those assist numbers that Chris referenced don't come about if the Gators don't hit shots. 9 three-pointers as well for the Gators, and a better effort at the line as well. Now comes this maybe season-defining stretch for the Gators that begins with a home game against Alabama on Sunday.
Any pregame storylines for this one?
A few, for sure. And when you talk about whether it's Bediako's addition to the Crimson Tide or the fact that they're right there behind you in the standings coming to this one, all these things come into play. And then it begins this 4-game stretch, which includes your bye. Can you help us kind of frame up what's next here for the Gators?
Yeah, well, let's talk about pride element from the other side. Now, here's Alabama coming in here with all that's going on with them. They've handled it however they've handled it. But Nate Oates has also lost 4 straight games to Todd Golden. Florida's averaged 102 points, something like that, in those 4 wins. So they're going to be on edge. Now, Florida has to protect the home court. If they learn anything, it's what the kind of energy, the kind of focus that they have to come out in a game like this. And you know Alabama's one of the best offensive teams in the country. They're battle-tested. They played the hardest schedule in the country. I think Florida's played the 3rd or 4th hardest schedule in the country. It should be quite an environment. But again, last week against Auburn, I thought was, especially in the run-up to it, was an electric environment. Got to respond. This is a huge game for Florida if they have SEC championship ambitions.
No doubt. And then the bye. No midweek game for the Gators coming up, and then the road game at Texas A&M. So that's the first 2 of this 4-game stretch. One thing that'll certainly help the Gators would be continued defensive excellence by Ruben Chinyelu, who is now on the watch list for the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year award, fittingly so.
As he should be, and I would think he's the front runner for SEC Defensive Player of the Year right now. Ruben had, I guess, would be a quiet double-double the other night at South Carolina, 14 and 10. He was 7 of 7 from the floor, and they were smothering him when he got the ball, and he just kind of muscled up through it. He wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but both he and Alex Condon, again, got the message from the game before and answered the bell.
Yeah, and he did that, by the way, in playing just 22 minutes. No starter played more than 26 minutes for the Gators in South Carolina.
And you know these guys are going to be locked in and fired up with Bediako. This guy's a monster, man. He's 7 feet. He's a defensive rim protector along the lines of Ruben Chinyelu. So Bediako's going to be mocked by the Rowdy Reptiles. He's going to be a marked man. But, I mean, I would think there may be even a little better environment than what he saw in the G League. What do you think?
I think so.
Yes.
And certainly it'll be another electric environment coming up on Sunday afternoon. Our thanks to Chris Harry. I'm Sean Kelley. We'll see you next time on Gator Insider, presented by Talon Wealth.